Today in Public Eye News, former President Donald Trump claims he will, quote, liberate Wisconsin from a mass migrant invasion, end quote, in a recent speech. And later, the state of Louisiana marks abortion pills as controlled substances. What this could mean for other states later in the show.
Reed Hall will have your weather forecast for the next couple of days, and later, today's sports breakdown. I'm Bianca Kroll.
And I'm Luke Niddle, and this is Public Eye News. Former President Donald Trump spoke to a crowd in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, lamenting Vice President Kamala Harris and her stances on illegal immigration. Trump spoke to an auditorium of about 300 people, proclaiming, quote, I will liberate Wisconsin from the mass migrant invasion. We're going to liberate the country, end quote. Harris has publicly denounced Trump's handling of border issues while he was president and his opposition to a bipartisan border package earlier this year. Harris also condemned Trump for a policy he implemented where border agents separated children from their parents, a policy which Trump ended due to mounting pressure as it was seen globally as inhumane, as well as pressure from the Republican Party. And Democratic Vice President nominee Tim Walz has made his last public appearance before the vice presidential debate tomorrow. Walz made an appearance at the Big House in Ann Arbor, where the Michigan Wolverines hosted Walz's home state school, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The visit comes before Walz will debate Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance of Ohio tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Both parties have made visits multiple times to the state of Michigan, with Harris visiting Detroit a couple of times, and Walz also making stops in East Lansing and Grand Rapids. As for Trump and Vance, they have made appearances in Walker, Auburn Hills, and Traverse City. Michigan will be a key battleground state in November for the upcoming election, with Michigan Democratic Representative Debbie Dingell saying that neither party has won the state yet, proclaiming it to be a purple state. Michigan saw the largest turnout nationwide among youth voters in 2022, with Democrats posting historic gains.
Michigan State Police Emergency Management has deployed Michigan Task Force 1, MITF-1, outside of Michigan state lines. This is following Tropical Storm Helene, which hit Florida as a Category 4 storm and has moved through the states. North Carolina made a request for help through the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, EMCA. The state currently has a tropical storm and flood warnings across the state. The state is also expecting flash floods, landslides, and heavy winds that will intensify. The MITF-1 team is deployed there for a 9-day mission and joined the rescuers of North Carolina. David McIntyre, the manager of the team, said that they're prepared for this scenario and are ready to assist those who need help. The team will conduct water rescues and flood response operations for trapped residents and motorists. The Michigan Department of Education, MDE, has received recognition for supporting aspiring teachers. This is following the Michigan case study looking at improving upon preparation for future teachers by providing paid clinical experience while teaching. This study also looked at why some fell out of the teaching profession. The case study has provided the student teachers with loan repayment and mentoring opportunities. The National Council on Teachers' Qualities officials say that they want to make this program important. They have noticed that too many teachers enter the profession feeling unprepared for the realities of the classroom. The research from the clinical experiences show that teachers who gained this experience felt more comfortable starting their first year teaching. Though the weather may seem up in the air here in Michigan, across the water in Minnesota, the weather has made for a rather fruitful harvest of a fall staple, apples. WCCO reporter Kristen Mitchell has more. Take a look.
We've been here since 1972.
At Whistling Well Farm in Hastings.
We've missed the hail for the most part. That's always a very bad thing for a lot of growers.
Owner Charlie Johnson has weathered many difficult growing seasons. But this year isn't one of them.
It feels a lot better, and it's a lot better on the checkbook.
After several drought years, his 42 acres of apple trees finally got enough rain.
Almost too much, and again, then the apples got a little bigger than what we would like them to be, but they're still good.
While grocery stores may prefer medium-sized apples, families picking from trees
look at the size of my palm
are impressed.
They're really big. I'm probably not going to be able to eat them all.
They are enormous. We're excited to be out here today and enjoy the sweetness. I think a couple kids have gotten into a few already.
Me and his are about the same size. Mine is taller, his is wider, his is King Kong, I'm Godzilla.
Another perk to the growing season, there's fewer cracks in the apples. That happens when they grow too fast under too much rain and heat. But thanks to our mild start to the summer, they grew at a healthy pace.
We'd like it to cool down, obviously, yeah. and for the ripening to slow down a little bit.
The unseasonably warm September hasn't kept people away. In fact, they've already harvested about 50% of the apples.
People are still willing to pick. We had a lot of pickers today. We get a lot of pickers during the week. They still like to get out.
So get out there before the end of October.
Were they good, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Hastings, Kirsten Mitchell, WCCO News.
Now don't touch that dial. Reed will be right back with your weather forecast right after this break.
Americans have no idea they are not voting for the candidate they think they're voting for. Rather, they are voting for a slate of electors.
My role as an elector is to cast my electoral vote for Donald Trump if he wins the state of Colorado.
If Biden wins, then I will be one of the official electors.
I don't think I'm someone that you would think of when you think of an elector. I'm hoping this changes my destiny. Maybe I'll meet a Kardashian or a West.
One person, one vote. September 30th at 10/9 Central on PBS and the PBS app.
Welcome back. I'm Reed Hall here to take you through our weather forecast. Starting off here on campus with our roof cam, taking a look, it is just a beautiful sunny day out there. Get out if you can, it might be the last warm one of the year. Now taking a look around the UP, pretty sunny all across the UP today. Starting out in Houghton, we're at 76. Ironwood's 74. Down in Iron Mountain is 77. Down towards the south part of the UP, a little cooler. In Menominee, it's 73. If we take a look onto our east side of the UP, Escanaba 71. Manistee is 69, so is Sault Ste. Marie, and back here in Marquette, it is 77 and sunny. Taking a closer look at our current conditions, winds are south at 14 miles per hour, and our barometric pressure is 29.93 inches and falling. Taking a look into tonight, it's supposed to be clear with a low of 52, winds southwest at 14, and our moon phase is a waning crescent. Looking ahead to tomorrow, it's supposed to be sunny with a high of 61, a low of 45, and winds northwest at 17 miles an hour. And looking ahead towards the rest of the week, Wednesday is going to be a high of 70, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Thursday is also going to be partly cloudy with a high of 64 and a low of 46. And on Friday, it's supposed to be sunny with a high of 65 and a low of 45. That's all the weather I have. Back to the news desk.
Thank you for that weather update, Reed. I'll definitely be getting out and enjoying those cooler conditions throughout the week. Jumping back into some more national news, Louisiana will become the first U.S. state to classify 2 abortion pills as a controlled substance. The decision comes as the state already has a near total ban on abortions itself and one of the highest maternal mortality rates of 31.8 per 100,000 people from 2018 to 2020. Proponents of the new ban say the reclassification should help curb coerced abortion, pointing to a case where a Texas man gave his pregnant wife 7 misoprostol pills without her knowledge. The ban reclassifies the pills as a Schedule IV drug, which puts them in the same category as the opioid tramadol and other substances that could be considered addictive. In 2023, nearly 2/3 of all abortions in the U.S. were administered by medication. And the FBI will be paying over $22 million for a class action lawsuit for continued and repeated discrimination of female trainees in drills. The payout to the 34 victims would be the highest lawsuit settlement in the history of the Bureau, pending approval by a federal judge. The lawsuit alleges that female recruits were subject to a hostile working environment and were treated harsher than the male recruits, as well as successively targeted and dismissed more often in tactical situations for an assumed lack of judgment. Many of the allegations were proven to be true in a 2022 internal watchdog report, with one FBI assistant director retiring after repeated sexual harassment and the seeking of an improper relationship with a female subordinate. Though the FBI said in a statement that they have, quote, taken significant steps to ensure gender equity in the last 5 years, end quote, men still make up about 75% of special agents. And Hurricane Helene is responsible for over 600 miles of devastation. As seen earlier in parts of Tennessee, cleanup is underway. However, the damage across the country is great and widespread. CBS correspondent Skylar Henry has more.
Hurricane Helene carved a path of destruction across a large swath of the southeastern United States over the weekend. After slamming into Florida's Big Bend Thursday night with 140-mile-per-hour winds and 15-foot storm surges. The drone video over Horseshoe Beach west of Gainesville shows the extent of the destruction from the hurricane. Officials estimate that 90% of homes in the Gulf Coast town of Keaton Beach are gone. The devastation reached as far north as Tennessee. Dramatic video shows the moment this bridge in Greene County collapsed under the pressure of rising floodwaters. And in Georgia, nearly 600,000 people remained without power late Sunday night.
A lot of cleanup, a lot of power lines down. Probably one of the worst storms Middle Georgia's ever seen.
But the storm appears to have inflicted its worst damage in the Carolinas, where officials say more than 70 people have been found dead so far. A mother, Megan Dry, watched as her 7-year-old son Micah and her parents got swept away into the flood. All were stranded on their roof when it collapsed into the water. Megan was rescued. Here in Asheville, catastrophic flooding cut off roadways, power lines, and cell service, isolating residents. 20 miles to the north, in the town of Marshall, Mayor Aaron Haney fears the cleanup could take years.
Once all the water gets out of here and all the power gets restored, then we'll really be able to start a building process back.
That's my neighbor's house. It's gone.
One lifelong resident told CBS News that her entire neighborhood was destroyed.
It's flooded before. It's gotten up to our bank and everything, and it's never been that bad.
Skylar Henry, CBS News, Asheville, North Carolina.
And we'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. I'm here again, this time with your sports preview. Kicking things off with football as the Detroit Lions are set to host the undefeated Seattle Seahawks tonight in a primetime showdown. It's been a tough stretch for the Detroit against Seattle, having lost 6 straight matchups, including 3 under Dan Campbell. It won't be an easy task grounding the Hawks, who have won 30 of their 42 Monday Night Football games and are 14-4 since 2010. Detroit will need to look to their punishing ground game to set the tone in this one, and will need a big game from their secondary if they expect to stymie the Hawks' air raid headlined by DK Metcalf. The Lions will debut their black uniforms and are set to induct Hall of Fame wide receiver Kelvin Johnson into their honorary Pride of the Lions. And swinging on over to the MLB, where the Detroit Tigers are set to make their first playoff appearance in a decade. The Tigers will play a visitor to the Houston Astros in a best-of-3 wildcard series. Detroit will look to continue their improbable Cinderella run deep into the playoffs, but will first have to overcome an Astros team looking to make it 8 straight ALDS appearances. The Tigers are set to send ace Tarek Skubal to the mound in Game 1 to face Astros Framber Valdez in what could be a dominant rubber match. This series is also a homecoming of sorts for Tigers manager A.J. Hinch, who helped lead the Astros to a World Series win back in 2017. Rosters are not yet finalized for the series, but look for the Tigers to shave off their pitching depth. The winner of this series will head to Cleveland to face the Guardians in the ALDS. And back here on campus, where the women's cross-country team carried the success of NMU athletics over the weekend. On Saturday, the Cats competed in the Lucian Rosa Invite in Wisconsin, where they finished 4th out of 10 teams. 5 Wildcats finished in the top 25, including 2 in the top 10, to lead the green and gold effort. Leading the pack was Danny Van Lente, who finished 9th with a personal record time of 22 minutes and 45 seconds. Following right behind her was Gianna Hoving, who crossed the line 12 seconds later. Rounding out the Cats' top 5 were Lamar Gordon, Emma Sweeney, and Celia Wallace. The Cats will be off this weekend before heading to Illinois for the Lewis crossover on October 12th. That's all the time I have for sports. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Reed, for those sports breakdown. Now, how about those Detroit Tigers?
How about them Tigers, indeed? I can't say when they were 9 or 10 games under 500, I expected them to storm and make the playoffs. But, hey, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I really didn't expect it, but I'm very happy to see it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's always good to see a Detroit team in the playoffs. And with that, we're out of time here in Public Eye News. I'm Luke Niddle.
And I'm Bianca Kroll.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.